I feel like Kelly is like having such a tough time
He's having
putting up
sleepy day.
the two of us. Oh man.
I hate you guys.
Sleepy boy over here.
He's a sleepy boy.
I'm not sleepy.
It's the energy he's containing inside of himself to not talk about Spoderman.
I really want to talk about Spider-Man.
We talk about it. When are you seeing it?
With Shauna?
With you on Monday.
Not with
I'm
him.
not here on Monday.
The rest
I'm
of us
seeing
on
on
Monday.
You come up
Monday.
to Whistler?
Hey Sam, you want to see it again on Monday? There you go.
See, I guess I'm not there. You guys are there.
See you guys. You can book this.
See ya. Whoa. Welcome to another late night.
No, stop. Don't laugh at him. Let him laugh at himself. Just let him sit there with that moment. Can't clap. Can't do anything. Can't speak properly.
It was
Can't clap.
funny because I stopped for you to do it. I was like, I like these late night,
I really don't.
these late nights fucking talks.
Give me fucking. Maybe I need a daiquiri and then we'll talk. Maybe I need a bunch of a-hole.
What?
Alcohol. A-hole.
Just don't do that.
Oh, right. I just like putting my feet.
You can't. Stop it.
I can't in every other sense, just not when I'm recording.
Welcome to the next episode of Stay Indoors.
Stay.
Today,
Late night edition.
it's really late.
It's stay indoors.
The thing is, it's not even really late. We're just
Stay
getting
in.
really old.
Stay in night.
It's pretty late. It's fucking 11.
Yeah, it's not late.
It's not that late.
But we are recording this one sort of ahead of schedule. So if there's any big news that comes out that we don't talk about,
It's not our
like
fault.
people are going to be much more in the future than us, than
Super
normal.
far in the future, like 3 days,
Yeah, we're just talking.
4 days,
We're just
5.
here to hang
What day
out.
is it?
Shush.
Thursday,
6
Shush
days.
it up.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Welcome to Geek Garden, where we tell you how to count the fucking days of the
but,
week.
like, when we record.
First day of the week is
Anyone's.
Monday. Second day is Tuesday. Then you
What
got
we talking about today, Kelly?
Wednesday.
Well, I want to talk about Spider-Man because I just watched it.
Thursdays
We're
after
not-
that.
We're not gonna watch.
We're not going to do that because
Friday's
nobody
the
else
next
watched
day.
it.
Shh, pretty boy.
So,
I'm almost done. I'm on Saturday. And then we get Sunday.
praise the Sunday.
Fuck.
So instead of Spider-Man, I have been playing The Last Guardian, and it got me thinking about escort missions in video games because they are famous for being real bad. But I think it's one of those things, and I want to know your guys' thoughts. I think it's kind of like stealth in games. When you have a game that isn't specifically built around stealth and there's like a stealth section, it's usually freaking awful. And I've been thinking that I think the same sort of thing applies to the concept of the escort mission for a variety of reasons.
Escort game didn't sound fun to me though.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I don't know.
you think that, but like
There's The Last Guardian, which isn't fun.
the Last Guardian is fun. There's some issues that it has with its conveyance,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of fun, I think.
Okay, I guess my conception of an escort mission is a little different. Like I wouldn't consider that game an escort game, but I guess it is.
Well, the thing that I find interesting about that game is that it's kind of like a reverse escort mission. Like you're the one being escorted. Like you're defenseless against the enemies and stuff, and so
Yeah.
you have to make sure that Trico can get there to save your ass.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. The fly.
Oh, yeah.
But like if you think about BioShock Infinite,
Yep. Also an escort mission.
and The Last of Us,
Yep. Also an escort mission.
Okay.
they're-
All right.
the whole game is that, right? And I think that they don't have one of the things that I think is true in both Last of Us. I know it's true in BioShock Infinite, but like the person you're escorting can't actually be hurt.
No.
Like while you're escorting them.
It's also true for Last of Us.
Yeah, it is true for Last of Us. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Ellie just kind of is around, but not
Yeah.
there.
And I think that they show that like the premise of an escort based game could be really interesting.
Okay. Okay.
Well, it's nice to have a partner.
It's nice to have a partner who's not necessarily like a player, like even in like a solo playing of a game, right?
Oh, I just got a really cool idea. A
What?
Transformers escort game.
Yo.
Where you're
Where,
escorting
like,
the
you
person
play as,
inside.
Well, either that or you play as the human, and like you have. It's kind of similar to Last Guardian, but like you're trying to help this Transformer, and then like you'd be in this action scene where it's like, "Come here, get inside me," and you like transforms, and like you get in the car and you drive off, and like oh. That'd be
And
really
then you
cool.
sit there while the car drives around for you.
You
and
can't
then-
fly. Oh.
I don't know why he swallowed the fly. Perhaps he'll die.
It's like it knows and it doesn't want to go into the... Yeah, you little fudge monkey.
Nice. Well done.
We don't condone murder.
However,
Violence in video games.
violence in IRL.
Spider-Man. I mean, Flyman.
Don't...
We're talking about escort missions.
Open,
Right,
I
escort.
changed out of my red shirt that I wore to go see the movie. Just stop it.
I get it. I get it.
I want to do it. But do you guys have any horror stories / golden stories that were brought about by escort missions? Like, Sean, I know you really, really like Last of Us.
Oh yeah. It's
Do you
really
think that it was enhanced by the fact that, like, gameplay-wise, by having Ellie there?
Well, I don't know if Last of Us really is a great example. Just for the sake that Ellie doesn't really impact the gameplay very much.
Okay.
Ellie is, for all intents and purposes, in terms of how you actually play the game, not there. She occasionally throws a brick, occasionally jumps on a guy, but for the those are very random things. There's no essence of you needing to protect Ellie for any other sense than a narrative reason. Mechanically, you don't need to protect Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
She's just there. Yeah.
So she's just around. She kind of looks after herself, which I guess tells the self-sufficiency of Ellie as a character. Like, she's off doing her own thing. And there's that section where you even play as Ellie, and there's no one to escort.
Question, though. In a game like The Last of Us, it's very narrative-based, and, like, the ending of that game, do you think it would have the emotional punch it had if you hadn't been bringing her along the whole time?
No, absolutely not. Because, like, well, the game is... Its main building block is Ellie. I don't even really think it's...
Yeah.
I don't even really think it's Joel's story so much as it is Ellie's story by the end. Because, like, yeah, you spend more time with Joel, and he's your protagonist, he's your player character. But I think by the end, it's really not about you, Joel. It's about Ellie, and it's about the youth in this world, and it's about the kind of the slow turn to cynicism in a world that's kind of dead. If you have a person that grows up with a world that's kind of dead and only hears these stories about this, what it was like when I was alive, you know, they don't have the same framework of depression that you do. Like, shitty things in their life still happen, and I think that's what Naughty Dog was trying to get through with that game. Is like, shitty things still happen, but Ellie's framework is much different. She's looking for support in a broken world, whereas Joel's looking to fix his broken self in a broken world. And so, no, I don't think that if you didn't have Ellie on that journey, it wouldn't be the same game, because that emotional impact is really about their relationship. That's I guess when I say it's Ellie's story, it's Ellie and Joel's story, really. It's about their relationship.
I was gonna say I think a lot of the games that like BioShock Infinite or Last of Us, I've never really looked at them as being escort games. I looked at them as almost like NPC co-op games. That's kind of the way I've looked at them, because you don't have to worry about the other person.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just my, like, when I think of an escort game, I think of, like, those awful missions where you, like, have to watch the guy's health, and you're just like, ugh, and then they do dumb things. I'm trying to think of a game, and I can't think of one right now.
Something very specific that I was playing, like, recently, and I kept dying.
I mean, Assassin's Creed has several escort missions.
Assassin's Creed is very famous for...
and I've yet to find one in
missions.
Syndicate recently that has any trouble, but...
I was playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse, like, last year, and there's this one fucking mission where you have to keep Krillin alive. And so it's like, it's a 3D fighting game, and they throw in an escort portion. No, it's you're fighting Cell, and you have to keep Krillin and Piccolo and someone else
I actually
alive.
remember you playing that.
And this is where I stopped playing the game entirely, because I was like, I was having fun with it. zipping around doing the kamehamehas, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, when I have to do this to protect someone, it's not as much fun because you just can't manage that many targets at once. It's not built for that.
I'm trying to remember. There's a game. I'm like, I can replicate the emotion, but I can't replicate what the game was. It was a level of some kind, and I feel like it's not even just one game. It's like happened in multiple games. You're escorting someone, and the way it works is kind of like you escort the person, and you follow them, and then like you get to a room, and a bunch of enemies show up, and you have to fight them and beat them and kill them. Basically, either before you go to the next room or try to beat them before the escort continues moving on, so you can keep up with them, right? And I feel like there was one game in particular where, like, you get in a room, all the enemies show up, you try to kill them all, and then your escort just, like, keeps going and, like, finds more enemies, and you're like, no, stop, you're still trying to beat the first room of bad guys, and you just get so pissed off because the escort just keeps going.
No, totally. And I think that is sort of connected to that point I was making about stealth games, because I think what I was driving at was the thing that annoys people about like a forced stealth section or an otherwise not stealth game is that the game doesn't usually have really solid mechanics to like handle stealth.
To utilize
to make use of that and to give you options to make that a fun engagement. It's basically like a very rote like walk here when it's very obvious that you're supposed to walk here and press the button when you're supposed to and take out the enemies in the order we've described. And then you're done this part, and then you can play the game again. Yeah. And I think that a lot of sort of games try to do stuff like that for the sake of adding variety. And I think the two of the bigger ones are stealth sections in games that don't support it, and escort missions in games that don't support it. And that's one of the reasons that it doesn't support it, right?
There's also like that weird, and whenever you play those old driving or those old action games, you ever remember the fucking random like driving section? When it's like, okay, we've been shooting and going into cover, and all of a sudden I'm driving a car,
and it never feels good because it like the driving mechanics aren't solid, and like the vehicle doesn't control properly.
I remember some James Bond games are really
like that
under that category.
I'm thinking
like,
I was actually
one mission.
I was also thinking of the Bourne game. If you ever played the Bourne game, the Bourne game was actually like had some solid ideals, but then it like, you know what it should have played like? Assassin's Creed. Not Assassin's Creed. It's the other Ubisoft one. Splinter Cell? Yeah. Should have played like that one. I don't remember hating that game. Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft, whatever. They're all the fucking same game. Time to climb a tower, get map, run around, woo!
Kill a guy.
Shoot a gun.
Well, I don't want to talk about Assassin's Creed again for like the third week in a row.
I know.
But I will just say that I think that is sort of that idea taken to the extreme of like, it doesn't really know what it is because it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't even know what its like core gameplay loop is.
It's change. It's like loose change.
I think that was the beginning of the. I was talking about this. I think I was talking about this during the sequel video. I think where I was talking about it in the violence one where games are getting so much bigger that games that have like a main genre to them start bringing in different concepts of other games. So like a game, games like GTA are now a third-person shooter and a driving game and like all kinds of stuff, right? And there was that weird era where people felt like they needed to put more styles of gameplay into a game. Yeah, it's like no, just make your one good.
Just make the one thing that you do really excellent.
Yeah, just do a one thing game. Yeah, mixed bag games I find are just like generally not good, and that's like where I think the trope of an escort mission comes from. It's because it's the escort mission. It's like that one mission where you fucking take that one person, and it's that thing that stops you from replaying a game almost every fucking time. And it's like
because terrible. The game doesn't have the AI isn't designed for that, and the game doesn't know how to accommodate that.
Yeah, well, it's just hard to play with a partner you can't communicate with, and that's like true in any medium. It's like, can you imagine playing a cricket or not cricket, but fucking what's the very Canadian one with the ice and the
hockey?
Discs? No, not hockey. Think of the other ice one.
Ringette?
No, the one with the
curling.
If you didn't have the yelling, trap, sweep, sweep, pull, you know that shit.
That is so weird that's where your mind went.
But it is.
All the team sports that exist, all the things people do where they have to communicate. You're like, curling would be fucking hard, man.
I kind of get it though, because you hear the people yelling when you watch it. They communicate
all the time. It's like
sweep,
they have to like moment to moment communicate with each other. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like that's a sport that requires literal communication from several parties. You know, and esports are very much like, what's it like? There's MOBAs now that there's one player who's play
just
on
the caller.
Yeah, he just calls shit. And
Yeah.
you're like, I think
Wow.
that's like such an interesting
That is
thing.
very
That is
cool.
really fucking
Yeah, it's
dope.
There
like
was
the
game
coach.
concept I heard a while ago that was like that. It was like a military style game, and like one guy is like all right, now third floor, blah blah blah. I can't remember. Was it Rainbow Six Siege? I don't think so, but I thought the idea was really cool.
That would have been a fucking great thing about Siege. If you like played a flying drone and you just like went out and looked in the windows and shit, and everybody is like,
the number of daydreams I've had about that shit.
that'd be good. It'd be
I've actually been considering looking at Siege because I've been watching. I keep seeing Kotaku.
It does look really cool,
and I'm
Well,
like,
yeah,
it looks so like.
Rainbow Six has always been good.
Yeah, I had Vegas and Vegas 2.
Vegas was fucking awesome. I remember playing Vegas so much.
Yeah.
Because Vegas was a really fun third-person tactical shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
it reminded me of like a modern day Brothers in Arms, which Brothers in Arms is another great third-person tactical shooter.
What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say, in light of just like different styles of missions in general, not just escort missions in different games, I find that a lot of the time those missions get introduced. Not that it's a bad thing, but they get introduced like halfway through or like near the end of whatever campaign or whatever you're playing through
It's the spice up mission.
But on top of that, they also they end up being difficult, and it's like I feel like they do way better if they just like, we're just gonna change it up. It's not difficult at all, but like, here you go, have some fun being sneaky for a little bit or driving this car for a few minutes.
Well,
but I found like when we played those James Bond games when we were younger, it was like you have to fight all these like other cars are shooting rockets at you, makes you land this jump perfectly, blah blah. And you're like, this is the first level you're giving me, and this is what I have to do.
Yeah, it feels like they scrapped all the previous learning missions and just gave you the one fun one, but it's like, the fun one was only fun because I knew how to do it.
Yeah,
but they use it for narrative.
Putting all of my tools to use, right? 'Cause that's what makes later missions in a video game fun.
Yeah.
So like, I have all these things that I'm capable of doing. Now I get to apply them.
Yeah,
it's like
crazy
remember to half circle stick when you press square to release the tear gas while simultaneously holding R2 and L1 to release the spikes. And it's like, huh?
Those are really good mixed combos.
It's like,
you just came up with those on the spot. That was really good. R2 and L1, and then like, what'd you say? Half circle square.
Circle square. It's like, huh? I don't know. But it's like, and the thing is, they prompt you with the like fucking games that introduce that shit halfway through. It's like, poof, and it's like, do it now. And you're like, it's supposed to
you're trying to read the text that explains like what the actual like story context of the mission is, while reading the text that tells you like what you're supposed to be accomplishing, while trying to understand the new interface of like what the basic controls for this new mode are, while listening to the voiceover while things are screaming at you and exploding.
And all the while
you just start to have a seizure. Like, I don't know how to play games. Just make stuff.
It's like, so it just vibrates out of your hand.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, for narrative reason, like in a game like Splinter Cell or in a game like James Bond, where you would have a mission where it's like, okay, you snuck into this building, you got to the garage, which this person was going to escape in, but you got in the car with them, and now there's kind of like a cutscene, but you're driving the car while doing it. Like, that shit I love. Like, it's cool, but it's not difficult or like whatever,
just
right?
give me a cutscene.
Well, that's an interesting thing too, and it kind of speaks to both narrative and tutorials in video games, because in something like, for a Splinter Cell example, you're playing as like
we just rag on the Ubisoft games all day.
You guys started, and I'm going with it.
No,
I'm not even ragging on it though. I'm just using the same example you were using.
I feel like Ubisoft, like, we have to give them credit. They do a lot of different styles of gameplay.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what happens. They kind of like, they're such a mixed bag, and I think that's why we end up in this scenario a lot.
Yeah, but like using that as an example.
Yeah. You look at other developers, it's like BioWare. BioWare makes the BioWare game.
I have a feeling you just got the same situation. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like using like the Splinter Cell example. If you have somebody like, say you're playing as what's his name, Sam Fisher?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're playing as Sam Fisher.
That's a good memory.
Sam Fisher is like a super trained mega spy, right? He can probably do more than just sneak into places and shoot guns. But like the focus of the gameplay is sneaking into places and shooting guns, and that's like what the emphasis in the mechanics are. So I understand that in some ways you're actually trying to fulfill the fantasy more by adding those things.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, this is all the cool things Sam Fisher can do, and now you can do them too. But you're like, I signed on to be sneaky shooty boy.
Yeah.
And then also because that's like the main focus of the game, the tutorial levels are usually like the earlier levels in a game. If you think about it, like Sam Fisher is capable of much more than this.
Yeah.
But you as the player need to play these ones to learn how your arsenal works.
Yeah.
So then like by the end of the game, you're playing fucking Sam Fisher, right? And I think it's that thing you were talking about where like they throw in that new section and you're like, yeah, we're doing this so you can feel like Sam Fisher, but like you haven't learned how to be Sam Fisher in that scenario yet.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't, and then you just don't feel like a badass because you just feel like a fucking
like an
idiot baby human who like,
crashing
doesn't know
the
how to
car
do
everywhere.
things.
Like, I have 12 buttons to manage and none of them do what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
In most driving games, X's go. Why doesn't it go?
What does it do? Isn't it R2 driving games now?
You're new to driving games. It's fine.
Well, I just thought that feels more comfortable. It's because it's the shoot button. That's right.
You're just a little shooty boy.
I'm a shoot boy.
I did want to, when we're talking about escort missions, there's two other points I wanted to make, or two things I wanted to bring up. One of them was just Bioshock Infinite while we were talking about it.
Bioshock.
We're just gonna talk about Bioshock and
talk about Bioshock
today. Bioshock is
Today.
so good. The day of Spider-Man Homecoming coming out.
Yeah.
Bioshock.
When are they making a new one?
Infinite is
Rapture 3.
Return to Rapture.
Bioshock. Again. I wanna get
The
into
shockening.
the shockening.
Yeah. Oh, the next one would be underground. Sorry.
Yo, though.
Get the fuck out of me.
The lights go out. Oh.
Okay, lock it down.
Okay.
Lock it down because don't give them the idea for them. Make them work for it.
Gotta
Make
lock it
them-
down.
Make them.
You
work
guys
for
read the book City of Ember?
it. No. Have you played System
No,
Shock?
I have not. No, I have not.
It's like sci-fi.
Well, system, yes, it's like sci-fi Bioshock because
Real quick. City of Ember. It's about an underground civilization like way in our future, and they lose the plans that tells them that their power is going to go out eventually, and so their power starts flashing in and out, and they don't know what to do about it. And every time it goes out, they don't know if it's going to last time it goes out, and they like can't see anything. And I'm like, oh shit, that'd be fucking cool. Okay,
I think I started reading it. It's like a young adult series, right?
Yeah. There's a movie now.
Yeah. No, I think I started
Bill
reading it
Murray
a
in
long
it.
time ago. But Bioshock
Wait,
Infinite,
hold on. Bill Murray's in a new fucking movie.
It's like 10 years old.
And you didn't tell me? No. I'm not done
He
yet.
was in Zombieland.
Shh. We'll talk about this later.
Who's Bill Murray?
Bill Murray! Sorry.
Live.
But Bioshock Infinite, when we were talking about The Last of Us, because I think those two games have a lot in common in terms of how they handle their sort of the escort character. But
Bioshock Infinite's good.
Bioshock Infinite is great.
oh, what's her name?
Emily.
Babe.
Is it Emily? Because Emily's the girl in Dishonored, and you've been playing a lot of Dishonored. Are you sure you're not just thinking of Dishonored?
I actually think it is.
I think it's Emily.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Okay. Anyway,
I'll look it up.
you know what? I'm gonna look.
It says right here, it's Emily.
No, anyway, the girl in Bioshock, she plays a lot more into the gameplay while you're playing as Booker than Ellie does while you're playing as Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one hand she like throws you ammo and stuff, which is just
Elizabeth.
cool. Elizabeth.
Fuck.
Okay, Emily didn't sound right, but I knew it was an E. So she like throws you ammo and stuff and kind of keeps you going, but she also ends up having that like cool alter reality tear in the fabric of space time ability that she does.
She's pretty cool.
But I think it's interesting because in that sense, you're almost just like playing as two characters
A little bit,
at the same time. Like you don't have the same level of like direct control over like where she goes, but she also like is invincible. Like she can't be injured, kind of like Ellie. Like she's designed to like look like she's hiding behind cover and stuff, but sometimes she'll do something dumb and like be on the wrong side of it, and people are shooting and like she's fine.
pretty good though.
Yeah, no, I just mean like sometimes it's the same thing with Ellie, where you're like, Ellie, you shouldn't be there.
They run right in front of the clicker, and I'm like,
Yeah, like
That game was extremely cinematic.
Happen.
Awesome.
But it's
a lot of listening.
it kind of uses it like where you're almost just playing as both of them. You know what I mean? Like because she can't be hurt, she's just like the extension of the player who can create those time rips.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I just think that's interesting. But the other thing I was gonna say, I don't know if you
really-
guys have played Eco.
Eco.
I just watched you play Eco, so like I know enough because I watched
Because
you.
like Eco is escort mission the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
there's
what I've
literally a button to, like, hold the girl's hand to bring her where you need her to go. And, like, the enemies that show up don't attack you. They attack her and drag her away. And, like, the whole point is to figure out how to, like,
Get her out.
move the environment to, like, get her out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking great. Like, it's just beautiful and lovely and just wonderful. It's just
great.
a good...
Very mysterious game
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, it's...
Like, I don't know who we are. I don't know who she
Mysterious.
is. I don't know who's attacking us.
But
That's like all of those games by that company, though.
Yeah.
They're very whimsical and, like, kind of shrouded in mystery.
Yep. It's good, and it's escort mission game, and it's great because the mechanics are for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole point is...
There's a bunch of games I've played with that mechanic, and I'm just like 100% blanking on like all of them.
Yeah.
Like the hand holding? Because one
Not
of
the hand holding, but just.
Press X. Press right trigger. And that's how I won the war.
Oh man.
Fuck.
I love these late night episodes. I love them so much.
Love them quieter. They're golfers next
No,
door.
I know. I got it too.
There are golfers next door.
Oh my god. The thing I was gonna say, the thing that I just thought of in my brain, is that
Careful.
Humans are highly toxic.
Be careful. Is that I was just looking at our catalog of games behind us, and like I remember I'm just like looking through them, and I remember the amount of games in there where they technically have an escort section to them, but they're so nonchalant that you don't even think about them. I think the one that kind of maybe no is Halo. Like sometimes you find yourself with Marines and stuff like that, and like
Halo's too pure.
that was too pure. Yeah. Where are you going now? You're literally in the middle of a video. This is our worst video games.
It's just so unprofessional.
So unprofessional.
It's just so unprofessional.
You had to put your plate away?
Why is it that, like, regular day to day, it's like a fight to get you to put your plate away? And now.
Anyways,
I always put my plates away.
the thing I was gonna point out is that in games like I think in Halo it does this, at least in the first one. Maybe not. I don't know. I might be dreaming it. But when you have an NPC that you're, what is wrong with that? I'm trying to get through one point of the video, but I can't do it.
Brandon, you've spoken for long enough. Kelly, what is your opinion on escort?
No, God,
I actually think that the escort
Guys.
mission is a really interesting concept, and
I think, yes, I agree. Conceptually, it works.
yeah, I think that's the thing, is that it's, I don't think people have necessarily cracked the place where it'll,
The egg.
there's cracking the egg,
The
egg
shell,
of the concept, right?
where you get to the gooey yolk.
Because the yolk is the point at which
The yolk is the yummy part.
the
The yolk is back.
Okay. What I was trying to say, gentlemen,
What was it about yolk?
is that no,
I'm hungry.
is when you have that escort stop mission,
stop yoking around.
and there's an
You
NPC.
crack me up.
Always look on the sunny side.
Come on, Brandon. Don't be shellfish. Laugh.
Guys, you're making my brain all scrambled.
Oh, okay.
I really
Oh,
thought,
I got it.
I really thought that this would go over easy.
Let Brandon finish.
Go ahead, poach me already.
Where Geek Garden tries to discuss a topic. Yeah, I feel like the watchers are escorting us through this fucking gong show.
Holy crap. I can't work with these people.
Can I talk about my thing now?
Let Brandon finish.
Promise not to speak until you're done.
I was saying how when you have an escort style mission, and the NPCs don't do anything, like they're your Elizabeth or your what's the girl from Last of Us? Ellie. Why'd you eat that pizza so quickly?
It's Ellie.
Okay, let's go.
But like they're clearly doing something, but it's not having any effect on your enemies or the environment. So like my example is when you're in a shooter game and you have like someone you're escorting or some kind of partner or whatever with you, and they're like clearly like at the enemy and they're shooting them, but it's just doesn't do anything.
Nothing
It
happens.
just they just put bullets into them, and then the enemy still gets up and charges at you, and you're like, thanks, that's awesome. Never understood those at all. It's like what's like you're just there for me to have something to take care of.
Yeah.
What games are you referring to?
My original thought was Halo, but now I thought about it, I'm pretty sure the Marines do kill some of the Covenant.
They fucked them up.
But I can't remember. I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head, but I definitely know there's games like that. Like a lot of games are like that.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. There's some times when you like walk into a thing, you're like, What I do like, which empowers the player, is that, especially in Halo, to use as an example, there's like several instances in which Marines, for instance, get attacked by hunters, which are the big armored slug-like things, and they don't do fucking anything. They just die in front of them, and it's like, okay, because that's my job, because I'm good. I'm a good boy. So in that sense, like I've tried to go through, because I've played that game so many fucking times. I've gone through where I have like made all the Marines, and especially in the third mission, Kelly's that's the one we're about to play.
Okay.
I've made all my Marines live, which is hard because they're idiots.
It's true.
Sorry, because they're all stupid.
They're all.
Well, I know like a lot of games, like I think it's because of like my past playing like a lot of superhero games and stuff. I know there's a lot of times where it's like you gotta rescue the civilians from like whatever, but like they're just dumb and they just like run out in the middle of like gunfire or enemies or whatever, and you're like,
frustrating.
I can't protect you if you don't help me protect yourself. You obviously just want to die, and if that's what's going on in your life, I'm sorry about that. But it's a fail state for me if you die. So if you can wait until later, that'd be great.
Normally, go for it, but I'm gonna fail the mission if you die.
I gotta keep going. So
Yeah, I love like Half-Life. You can kind of like get helpers like scientists with my brains and your brains will make an excellent team. That's what they say every time.
Perfect.
And they just like follow behind you like this. I mean, the game came out in 90s.
In that glass.
96.
woo.
But anyway, but they'll just walk right into fucking anything that's hazardous. They pay no attention to their surroundings. Like there's clearly these big slug-like things with a tentacle falling down that if you walk into, they suck up and kill you. And they're just like, what's that? And then they just become mincemeat.
And you're like, well, it's nice knowing you.
Yeah.
I think that's another problem just with with poorly implemented escort missions is just like the AI isn't designed for it.
I think
like,
that's usually the flaw.
Yeah, they don't have the sort of infrastructure to make that interesting or engaging.
Yeah.
Like I think if you had, we're designers now.
Yeah.
Oh, we are.
This is what I was thinking. I was like, eventually we're gonna get to.
I was thinking about making a shirt with all the sleeves all shredded, and then
you 80s hipster grunge fuck.
Hamster grunge.
Hamster grunge. You
I
make
know
everything
you
out
like
of
your
hemp.
hamsters. Oh. Gross.
Hamsters made out of hemp.
Whoa. We're getting to some
We're going-
new territory.
We're going into the strange part of
Oh,
YouTube.
game designers.
Yes.
I'm on the same page as you now.
We need to. We've been told by our corporate masters
Corporate masters.
that we have to make an escort mission.
I quit.
And is this okay? Good. Is this a perfect world where we have all the money and time and resources to make it
Yes.
good? Okay, cool.
Yes.
And like the perfect AI systems.
Because we also, well, yeah, that's a given. We
Yeah,
have
but,
like
you-
infinite time and money to
But
do
you
this.
guys have to figure out, like, what AI system, like, what do you want the AI to be doing?
Yeah.
Let's say that in this instance, you have to get your person from point A to point B, and this person has some kind of intelligence that some enemy team wants,
Okay.
and so you're getting ambushed by people armed with some kind of ranged weaponry. How does this function?
You gotta protect them from range.
Yep.
What kind of game are we playing?
What's our other mechanics? Like, are we talking about like?
You're doing a third person, first person shooter.
Yeah, this is my thing. It's because I'm like, instantly I thought, I'm like, you just put a Reinhardt shield up, baby. Boom, done.
Okay. Let's say that it is a
Reinhardt.
third-person action game.
Yep, you play as Reinhardt.
You do not play as Reinhardt.
Damn it.
In this instance, let's say that you have some kind of non-lethal ranged weaponry, like the enemies have guns and you have like sleep darts or something like that.
And you throw them.
And that's sort of the basis of the game. But you also do have a melee system, and you get into like fights as well. So it's like a third-person action adventure game.
You got a sword, and you also got a dart. You got a dart and got a sword. Okay, well,
And is this something? Is this a one-off mission, or is this a game that we're designing?
Well, let's say like the game has a lot of escort elements,
Okay.
but this is a particular mission we're designing right now. So like, bear in mind there might be like larger mechanics at play, in terms of like the overall sort of how escorts sort of stuff functions, how NPCs might be able to react.
okay.
If it's something that is going to be recurring, and I assume with different people, like you're escorting different people, I think it'd be really cool. This is my opinion. A system that seems to work relatively well is the Mass Effect system, where like you point to a spot and they go there, and you have different let's say like modes you can put them in, like active or standby or hold or like whatever, right? So you either direct them to go to a spot and they stay there, or you can tell them to like go somewhere, but they also are kind of like aware of their surroundings and like move if they have to, or like attack a thing if you need to, or whatever. But I think it'd be really cool if we're doing something that's recurring with different characters. Each one has a talent or something, where like say
Give them
one
some sort of
scientist
ability.
can lay down a trap behind them, so you can like. You tell them, okay, go lay the trap in that doorway, and then stand behind cover on the other side, and then someone comes behind you, tries to flank you, they'll hit by the trap, and then you're in cover, and you're good to go. And then I'll just, like, tell them to stay or follow me or whatever. Yeah.
Cool.
That'd be mine.
That like
Try to top that, Sean.
So the main
Okay,
thing you're saying is that you want to be able to very clearly communicate with the people you're trying to protect, and have them be able to engage with the world in some way.
Yeah. I think it would be cool if, like, if you are dealing with different characters and different scenarios, that you're dealing with different personality types. So, like, maybe, like, 1 in 5 of the escort missions you do, they're just super nervous people, and so like they don't listen to your commands, they just fucking run off, and like that's the challenge of that room. It's like the person will just like you'll tell them to go somewhere, and they'll go there initially, but then they'll fucking like run away because they'll see one bad guy, and they're like, ah, you're like, fuck, no, get.
Yeah, because you add in variations, right? It's like when you like play a fighting game, or like, sorry, not a fighting game, but like a game with like a melee combat system, and then like they're like, and in this challenge you've like your arm's crippled, so you've lost the ability to do counters or like whatever, right? It's that kind of a thing, variations on that.
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah. That's interesting. See, I would like to play with it from like a they don't do too much, like just for interest of being different. I would like to be able to more actively protect them in a way that makes sense. So like laying down like shields, or like would be an interesting idea that like you grant them the cover that they need to live.
Create them cover.
Right? Like imagine like let's say that they had to do something in an area and you had to protect them as long as you can. So you like have 3
So
shields.
it's the classic mission where it's like the scientist you're protecting is like, I can open the door, but I need 3 minutes to get by our security override.
Exactly.
And the bad guys are coming in.
So yeah, like pseudo like tower defense esque.
Mm.
You like put up your stuff to like to keep your escort alive. And then you've got like your gun, I guess, and your dart and sword, and you're like trying to actively like it gives you a certain amount of tools to deal with the problem in the room. Like, don't forget you can set like I think Half-Life 2 actually does this once or twice. Like, oh, don't forget you can set up these turrets and I'll work on this thing, and you've got mines and turrets to set up. So you set up those mines and turrets and you like lay your defenses down while they're doing their thing, and then you like also are watching a door or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like pseudo wave defense, but it's also like mixed in with the escort because then you have to go through like room and room.
Yeah.
But like if you could do that and combine with more like practical protection, like you set up some cover and like kind of change the battlefield as it were.
I think that's a really cool idea, and it's not something that I've ever thought of before. Is like the tower defense angle of like giving you more ability to sort of control the playing space.
Yeah,
I think is really cool.
I think it would be a lot more fun because that's always my favorite parts in games is like the holdout. I fucking love making a last stand kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like whenever a game gives me the last stand, I'm like, oh right, it's like fuck yeah, and then you try and push
it's
it.
like it's so I was just finishing off the DLC from the first Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor game.
Yeah.
So I'm like ready for the sequel, and like I forgot how satisfying it is when somebody like knocks you down and you just get that last ditch chance to like block their last attack and then like get back up and keep fighting.
Yeah.
Like it's so satisfying. And like Borderlands where it's like if you can kill somebody before you bleed out, you get a second wind and you get to stand back up and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember getting hyped on that big time.
So I totally get that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I think something I just pictured in my mind when you explained that was also in the similar concept, but not so much like protecting them while they're doing something, but like paving a way for them. So like the picture I had in my head was like you're in some kind of like library or office or like something like that, and there's someone at one end of the building, and you have enemies coming in from the other side of the building, and so like the mission starts and like you initially like you knock over a table, and then like they go behind that, and then like you have to get them forward somehow, so you find something else. There's like another cubicle wall, or you have to take out the guys that are near that before he can move up to the next cubicle wall, and like that style of mission as well. I think that's kind of cool, where you don't innately control him, but there's a designed linear path of where he's supposed to be going, and you have to try to help him get through it and protect him.
Very cool.
Yeah, I would love it more if it's like I'm gonna move like you and that character were communicating. Like you don't necessarily have full control over where they're going, but they're communicating. I'm gonna move up. Tell me when it's safe, and you have to give them the all clear to move. And you're the one like bang 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 whatever, and they're like, all right, move to the next cubicle, and you're like you give them you press the up on the D-pad, and it's like, all right, I'm going, and then they move. And then you're just like, all right, we got 5 more guys coming in. It's like, oh no, I'm taking cover. And it's like, you're just supposed to hold off and like suppress them as long as they like, right? So long enough to like pick 1 or 2 off or like get a lucky grenade or in there or whatever to like kind of thin the crowd so that you can push forward again, right?
The other thing that I think is important with escort sections, and I think one of the things that they end up becoming frustrating because of is the fail state.
Yeah,
an escort mission.
They're so annoying.
I think that you should give them like your baseline. If it's a game that like features them very heavily, I think that as your baseline, like the people you're escorting should have health or should be able to take a couple hits before it's over, and it's not just like, oh, they're dead and now it's done.
Yeah.
It would be nice if you also had the capability of like healing them a little bit. I think that would be a cool thing where like if they take a couple hits but they get behind cover and you can get to the same cover as them, if you can like patch them up.
Yeah.
If there's some kind of health mechanic.
Yeah, the communication to the player, I think, would be in very in peril to
Gears
that.
of War is definitely a game that does that. You're not necessarily escorting people, but like your people you're with, they'll get down, and then you can go pick them up.
And I think incorporating something like that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think is adding variety. Like obviously in a game that features like 1 or 2 escort missions, you're not going to have that. But like I think having some escort missions where the enemies are trying to like kill the guy you're escorting, and some escort missions where they're trying to kidnap them.
Yeah.
is really cool. So like they might get grabbed, but you could still like pop off the guy who's carrying them and get them back.
Yeah.
I think would be cool to add some variety as well.
Yeah.
Because it's really frustrating when you just like have to guard this guy and they get like hit once from an enemy you didn't see somewhere, and then you have to like go back like 20 minutes to the beginning of like the thing.
Well, yeah, and then because you want to do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that like cubicle situation we were talking about, like let's say you're like in an office setting, you've got like you've just barred or reinforced the door behind you, and then all of a sudden you like see the the welding thing come up, and you're like, okay, they're like scientist boys like, yo, you have 4 minutes before they're gonna get through that door. And then boom, on the other side of the door, you see like guys come in. You're like, oh shit! So he gets to cover, and you get the cover, and you instantly know now you have to clear the room, move him up, get him through the thing in under 4 minutes because you're gonna get attacked from your rear flank, and he's gonna die. So like, or you're like, okay, shit. So you do the whole thing, and then just before you get to the door, you're like, fuck. Okay, you mop up the last like 3 guys, but the timer goes, so now you have to be like, ah shit. So now you have to take cover, clear the rest of the guys that are coming up behind you before you can move on again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just like you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I think that would be like an interesting fail state where you have that chance. There's a timer. It's clearly indicated to the player.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to die unless you as the player give him the wrong information, and or like you're not doing your job properly. But then like even when the timer does go off, or like you've slipped up a couple times, you have that moment to like gain an advantage again and like get your footing. So
That's a cool idea. The idea that like the fail state isn't necessarily a fail state, but it's like you could have avoided the whole second fight.
Yeah.
Like if you got out quicker, like that idea is also really cool.
Would have been, and you can use that for like anything. Think about it like if you want to take it to a fantasy setting, it's the same with the castle gate. Like, oh, they're gonna get through this gate in X amount of time.
Yeah.
All right, well, like clear the way. It's like, all right, so you're like, he's like competent enough that he can like parry and dodge a few blows, but he's not gonna land a killing blow, and he's like not gonna last very long in a fight. So it's like you see his stamina meter slowly run out, and you're like, oh shit, he's getting tired. So you got to go off there, like grab the guy, throw them off, and then like now engage 2 enemies, just so that he can have a breather before he's like, all right, I'm ready to get back. And then you're like, okay, and so you try and get the killing blow on one, but then another guy circles around you and goes for him again. You're like, fuck. And so you keep doing this back and forth of like trying to like get a guy off him, but let him also take the pressure off you so that you can eventually take the pressure off him.
Yeah.
So you have to trust the AI enough, but like you can trust him as long as you know the meter, right?
Yeah.
Right. So clearly indicating on the player like how much time they have.
I had 2 other permutations that I thought of for like the escort mission. One of them, did you guys have any interesting ideas for like a co-op escort mission? Of like the 2 of you are in charge of like defending one guy.
Oh, okay.
Like something that could be like different or interesting with that.
I think that's like an interesting thing, especially if you like take it into, let's say you have like a whole game, like an Army of 2 style game, but like it's the whole thing's an escort, so it's Army of 2 plus 1.
Yeah.
One guy could literally be shield wall boy, who's like their constant job is to like be on the
That's
guy.
the first thing I thought of. Yeah.
Right, like that's their job. They're like always have the handhold button, right? But at the same time, they're got out there with the pistol and they're shooting, and the other guy's like the one pulling aggro, making sure like suppressing and flanking, but like trying to keep everybody off. I think that would be like a lot of fun.
But they can only protect from the front, right? So like your other guy is okay,
watching
like,
your
move
flanks.
up and like exactly.
Watching your flanks.
Because the one thing that I thought of immediately was when like that office scenario that we've now decided is the perfect escort mission level apparently.
I just think it's fun.
I think it's a cool setting. But I was imagining like you've got like your one guy who's in there with the guy, like he's got like his handgun or whatever, and he's like flipping tables over and trying to get cover or whatever. I imagine another guy on like the rooftop opposite with a sniper rifle.
Oh yeah, that would be fun too.
And like some kind of like scouting, droning technology, and kind of keeping an eye on like people that are coming in.
Yeah,
and, like
There's a game
informing
that's
you
done that.
while also taking Ghost Recon,
Wildlands.
Future Soldier, or Future Soldier. I think.
I feel like it's a Tom Clancy game that did it.
Yeah, it had like
one of the Ghost
it wasn't
Recon
that
games.
split up, but you had some cool like rooftop surveillance technology shit you could do. It was really fucking fun.
The Ghost Recon games are fun.
Yeah,
The first one. I remember the first one for the Xbox 360 was really good. Ghost Recon.
Advanced Warfare.
Advanced Warfare. Yeah, they're all Advanced Warfare.
and then Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Modern Warfare.
And then the
Infinite
other
Warfare.
one.
Infinite Warfare.
Drug Warfare. World at Warfare.
Black Ops Warfare.
The other
Blacks
the other
Warfare.
thing.
World War Warfare. World Warfare 2.
World
Warfare 2.
War, the game.
Yeah. That's Darksiders 1. But
It's a joke.
it's a good joke.
Good one.
The other
Got that, gamers.
joke, not what I was gonna say.
The other permutation.
The other permutation
joke.
was like having to escort multiple people. Like
Fuck that. Sounds like a
a
nightmare.
crowd or something.
I already don't like that. I'm just imagining you like the percentage of hostages alive is just like going down. You're just sitting there going, "Fuck me, man!" Like
Okay, well, how many hostages is too many hostages to keep alive?
I think 3.
5.
Okay, 5.
I could do 3. 3 I could see if they all like acted kind of as a group, and then you added more of that chaotic element. I think would be fun. Like that's when they got nervous. Like you had 3, so it's like gotta watch most of them, but at the same time, it's like if one dies, it's not the end.
I guess when you said multiple, my automatic assumption was that they are not super close to each other. Like they're kind of spread out in a much larger room, and I'm just like, don't like that.
That sounds like Protect the Pylon, but they're AI dudes this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like escorting is like about
I imagine that like you would eventually have them together because like it just doesn't make sense like from an in fiction setting, like you would want to group those people together to keep them safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's somewhere you could potentially add like your idea of having them have like some skills or something they could do as
Mhm.
well. They could like
That's
assist in
true.
that. And they're not really members of your team, but like they temporarily have like I can do this one thing. Like maybe one of them is like that scene in like the movie where there's like a hostage situation and one person like accidentally took a stray bullet or something during the firefight with the hero and the villains, and like there's the one person who's like everybody get out of the way, I'm a doctor, because there just happens to be a doctor there. Like you have that.
Always.
Like you have that person
yeah.
who's like an EMT or a doctor or something
Mhm.
who like is trying to take care of people while this is all going on.
Yeah.
And then like maybe that's part of the mission is like just keep them safe long enough for the doctor to get them good enough that like you can get out of the building.
Yeah.
I hear you.
One guy can like create his own cover. Like one guy can like lay traps.
One guy can
heal
create whirlwinds.
in an office.
Yeah, man. Think of
Yeah.
a paper storm. It's so much
What
cover.
do we got that sniper across the street for? We got this guy who can create whirlwinds.
Hey, whirlwinds.
Hey
It's
man,
crazy.
I don't know what genre we're playing in.
Hey, dude, I don't know.
Fantasy.
Any genre.
We still got that sleep dart sword boy, right?
Yeah,
What
I
happened to
don't
him?
I like him.
Whirlwind snipers.
He's
that
in
were
the
it.
office.
He's in the
He was
office.
just at his
Guts.
day job. He's an accountant.
Yeah. You gotta have a day job.
Yeah.
But they have a scientist in the
I
back.
can throw sleep darts and use a sword. Oh, you're gonna be helpful to the team.
And I just had them under
Why
my
are you
desk.
here? It's my day job. What do you do at night? I moonlight as a ninja. What the fuck? What is this game? This is like a modern military shooter, but
I
this
want
one
this
guy-
game.
I'm actually really enjoying the idea of this game right
It's
now.
so ridiculous. I want it.
Game sounds like
I want someone to create the narrative for it.
The other idea
done. You're Joe Shoot.
is like
Good one.
Dragon Age, how it's got the whole like you kind of freeze time and like tactically deploy your team.
Oh, I love that shit.
Like
Okay.
I'm thinking of like what if you had like a small strike team of people, and
Mhm.
then you like it's single player maybe or 2-player like phone whatever, but you have like a small team of people and then you're like maybe the game is like hostage extraction the game, and like
So
that's like what your guys
Counter-Strike.
do. Yeah, but like the hostage element,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so you can like stop time and be
Terrorists,
like, okay, you
right.
like make sure that they're protected. You start setting up our forward line cover. You like do that thing and you do this, right? So it becomes about like making the tactical decisions, with the keeping the hostages as your main objective that you're like remembering. Because objective based gameplay is really fun,
Yeah.
right? And I think as long as your AI isn't stupid and you can potentially like talk to them or
Yeah.
they're moving or whatever, like you can and then you set up your team and you're like, okay, now once we're ready to go, maybe like the group, maybe you're escorting a larger group, but the group only so you're escorting a larger group,
Yeah.
but the group only goes when you like get your team kind of around them in a formation
Yeah.
to keep them safe, and then you kind of move forward as a team and you're taking out guys as they get close, but then you introduce that random element of some of them will run away.
Yeah.
And
So you
then
gotta,
you're
like,
like,
just
you're like,
stop and
okay,
go, yeah.
two
Herd
of
them.
us, two of us stay here, and 2 of us go like give him cover and get him
Yeah.
back.
You know what this sounds like?
And then you slowly move the group and like bring back people.
You know what? How this would be a great indie game if you were playing like sheepdogs.
Yeah.
If your squad was sheepdogs and you had sheep, you were trying to like
That's hilarious.
bay away
Yeah.
the wolves that were trying to like fucking get at the sheep.
Yeah.
I think that would be
Had to
fucking.
herd them
that would
from
be-
pasture to pasture.
Exactly, because some of them would get nervous and start running off, and you'd be like, "Get the fuck back here, you stupid
Yeah.
sheep!"
Well, it actually kind of
Love it, I love
reminds me of the way you herd in Red Dead Redemption too.
Yeah,
Sorry, Red Dead Redemption also. The second one hasn't come out yet. I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Red Dead Redemption.
I'm sure it'll be in there.
TOO.
Yeah, the minute you started saying that, I pictured like a Rainbow Six style game where you have your squad of maybe 4 guys, and the way I pictured it is kind of like, so say in like, it would be way more complicated than this, but say there's like a building and you have like your bad guys and hostages that are in the middle room. Yeah, like a Rainbow Six style game where there's a room in the middle and you rotate between like 4 guys with like 2 doors and a window and like this roof or something like that, or even maybe even a grate down below or something. And yeah, so you rotate through your guys and you set them up like outside the doors, on the other side of the window, and then you play as one of them, and then you kind of say like, all right, go, and the AI knows to like do the thing you set them up to do, and then like automatically shoot bad guys or whatever, and then like, that's like the game, is that you have to get in these certain scenarios where it's like, okay, there's actually 2 rooms with hostages now, like which guys do I send here, what's the best scenario to send them in, and then like you have to do it all in one move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
sounds
that'd
like a
be really
very
cool.
fun strategic tactical shooter.
Yeah.
Where you're, like you like set a plan in motion of like the foreseen things, and your AI like sticks to the plan as much, and like obviously some things are gonna go wild or different, and you have to like plan each room at the same time for the strike team. You have to pray that your other strike team, because you're not there to know, so they'll like give you a sit rep at the end of a room. You won't know until after you're done your room how they did in their room. They're like, ah shit, Kwasinski's down. You're like,
Yeah, a really good concept would be if there were 2 rooms and you decide to go like 2 and 2 with your guys.
yeah,
And like you can only play one guy, right? And then they fail their room, and you just get this like the 2 officers are down. You're like, fuck, and now you have to figure out how to do the last room, but with your 2 guys. But you have like a time limit because now they're aware that you're in the building or whatever, and they're gonna start killing hostages.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Well, that's also really cool because it kind of handles the fail state and like makes it like the fact that it's hostages is important, and it's not just a payload, because it's like they can kill them. So if you don't like get your tactics right and do it at the same time, you fail because the hostages die, right? Like it's like, oh, we gotta get in there and like kill the bad guys. Normally it's like, okay, all the bad guys are dead. It was a little wonky, but whatever. But like if it's the hostage situation, and like and then from there you iterate on bad guys where you know like, okay, these kinds of bad guys, they're gonna kill the hostages first. These guys are gonna try to shoot you first, right? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
These guys have shields.
Yeah.
These guys, so you have to get them from behind or like whatever, right?
yeah, or like flashbang them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really cool.
These guys have like heat
So
vision goggles, so you can't use smoke on them.
This would be a good like turn-based game, I think. It would be like a weird XCOM sort, but you'd have to like
XCOM cross Rainbow Siege.
yeah,
Like,
you'd have to like it would be like a multi-level sort of game as well. I think it would be interesting,
yeah, no, I think it actually really
especially if you did like turn-based or something,
Yeah.
and you like had to like set up 3 moves ahead when you entered a room. You like set up 3 moves ahead based on like the intel you had.
cool. Yeah.
There's 2 guys. What we can tell you about the room is it's like this by this, and there's going to be at least 3 in the room. So you have to like set your squad. Okay, like shoot first, non-lethal, survey, shoot, or like clear and enter, like flashbang first, or like breach hard and loud. Like you have to like or breach, cover, shoot. You know what I mean? Like you have to like kind of like rock paper scissors it up, and if you
then as you get further in the game, you can like put resources into like getting better like intelligence officers.
yeah, exactly.
So you have more reliable information.
I was
going
gonna
to the
say
room ahead of
it could
time.
be really cool, like learning curve, if you were to have a game like that and all your officers like level up. And then if you first start the game, you can put them somewhere and you can only give them 2 actions. So it's like open the door and shoot the guy, right? But then later it's like open the door, flashbang, shoot the guy, and then it's like, pick the lock or like slam the door open. Plus, like flashbang, grab the hostage, then shoot. Like you can give
Fiber
them more
optics,
actions. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
gain extra intel sometimes because you have a fiber optics cable, but that'll
Yeah.
eat on a round or an action or something.
Yeah.
So like you'll be able to like, let's say eventually you get 4 actions, but you use one to like survey the room early. Okay, so you know exactly what you're up against on the room. So you're like, fuck, okay, this guy's gonna breach. This guy's moving in to shoot, and then this one's like da da da, and it's like okay, and execute, because That would be really fucking cool. And a game that kind of does that is Transistor, where
Mm.
you have to like you pause the game, you like move her, but it takes up like you have this much plan essentially, and everything you do in this like pause mode, like eats up on this plan. So moving eats up a little bit, and then activating a move eats up a chunk, and then moving again and activating another move eats up a chunk. But you don't know where it's going to move after the first attack. You can gauge that it's going to be knocked back a little bit and probably along this line, so you have to guess with your second attack or like make an educated guess. So you're like boom, 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 execute. And like sometimes it's fucking so satisfying when you get 4 things in one go.
Yeah.
And you're like, that was a perfect plan. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just
Yeah.
executed this thing and like it's so good.
I don't want to
cool.
get too deep into it, but I just had another clever idea that in that style of game, where like you get intel at the beginning of the game, like you at the beginning of the mission or whatever, you might go like, oh, we know that there's this many people in the building, and you're dealing with like 2 rooms or whatever, and then what can happen is that you get like a very shell shaded like less detailed version of the room where you're just like, oh, we know there's a guy here and a guy here, so you can like move the camera into the room and be like, and tell your guy outside the door to attack this guy. But as soon as the door opens, you learn what's actually in the room and shit you didn't know. So like
That's
you can
kind
choose.
of what I was thinking when you
so
played
you
with the
can
Final
choose
War.
whether or not to like sneak in, put a camera underneath beforehand or whatever, so you can learn there's like, oh, there's actually a trip mine here or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Where like you can see it, but the way that you think it's set up before
Yeah,
you
yeah,
actually
no,
Yeah,
to
do it.
like-
visualize what you have as your intel.
Yeah.
Right, you have like security cam footage, but from like 2 days before.
Mhm.
So like, so there's a table in the room, but like when you open the door, you see that the table's been knocked over,
Yeah.
and it's like fuck.
The 2
or,
guys
like,
normally stand here.
yeah,
or
and the
whatever.
fridge is like also being used for cover just behind that, and you're like,
Mhm.
fuck. And then there's like a fucking trip mine or something,
Yeah.
or just like a fucking automated
Planting claymore.
turret.
Yeah.
Planting claymore.
But this is a great fucking escort mission.
Yeah, I think we can agree that we have like definitely decided that the escort concept in a game is not inherently bad.
It's not inherently bad, no. But I was just making
sold
fun
me.
of us how we actually forgot about our escorting. But like
No, I think we
it was more about like room infiltration. But
yeah,
like,
but with like the idea of the hostages as well was like the basis,
Yeah.
right? So
because then probably the end point is like getting them out,
yeah, then you got to get them out, and there's more guys who come in after that, right?
right?
Because if you imagine you're on the top floor in this game, and you always like enter from the top floor because that's where they keep the hostages because it's farthest away from all the entry points. You break in, there's going to be guys downstairs, right? So the first part is
100%.
get them, like, get the hostages.
Yeah.
The second part is get them out.
I think that
So-
would be a fun part.
Yeah.
Because the first part's probably easy. It's just like you like rappel down, on the window, breach in. But that'd be another fun part. Is like you get to choose where you breach in the top floor. And
Exactly.
like how you
What
do
about
it.
Rainbow Six now?
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
But yeah, so we can definitely agree that the official Geek Garden stance is that escort missions not necessarily bad.
They're
No.
okay.
I like
Because I really like the concept.
apparently we forgot to mention this, but Enslaved. Has anybody played this? Was like a cult hit.
Enslaved?
For the Xbox 360, I believe.
Odyssey to the West or something. Odyssey to
Yeah.
the West.
Yeah,
Haven't played
and
it.
you play as Monkey, I think is his name, but it's like a whole escort mission.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I've heard good things, and I keep meaning to.
Yeah.
Put it on the list, but I haven't played it. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
I
I think it's
just
Enslaved
played-
Odyssey of the West.
But yeah,
Odyssey of the West.
like that. Apparently, it's a really good game, and it's centered around this kind of escort companion mission.
Yeah, I wanna this is just me the ideas that I come up with. We don't have to spend any time at all on it, but I had an idea a long time ago that actually would probably do well to incorporate some of the ideas we talked about today. It's a Captain America game. It's kind of set in like its own world where Captain America kind of has a team that's like composed of sort of ex-soldiers and like ex-military personnel and stuff who kind of want to do the vigilante thing.
Dum Dum Dugan.
To allow Captain America to be a leader without having to be like a full Avengers thing, right? Like
Yeah.
in his own corner of the universe, he's clearly a leader too, and like he's got people like Falcon and like D-Man and stuff who are like his like high-ranking guys.
His boys.
But it can have like some tower defense mechanics, and it can incorporate some like utilize your team to protect civilians stuff,
Yeah.
It'd be like have Falcon do like aerial reconnaissance and
I
whatever.
really want to see that game because I feel like it'd be a very like non-lethal game. Like you would you would knock guys out at the most and like that's it. And like I really like that style.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that because I think it'd be cool, I think it would have a lot of. I feel like a Captain America game, if you're talking about superheroes, like I think would have a lot of escort stuff. Like I feel like he's really well suited to that, especially like literally having a shield.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's all about protecting people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I just think that'd be dope.
I agree.
He's the man.
But I could talk about that. I just wanted to do a little bit of a superhero thing in there.
Always.
Superheroes?
Yeah.
Superheroes?
Did you guys have a final word for anything today?
Superheroes.
No, man. I think it's good.
You good?
Yeah.
Give this one a short one.
Yeah.
I think we got our 2 cents in.
We definitely talked for an hour.
I think, I'm just going to say, I think we talked longer than either of you guys thought we were going to. I think you were impressed by how much you could talk about escort missions.
I was also impressed.
Well, I think like we got talking a little bit about like making games, and I think like just like the.
But we stayed pretty on topic.
Yeah,
we got into making escort games. I'm into it.
I know. I love that. That's what I'm saying. I love that the most. That's why I was like.
Escort is definitely not a type of game or genre that I would normally be like, yeah, man. It'd be one I'd probably avoid more often.
Yeah, because like my problem with escorting, just in games in general, is most of the time it feels like they just throw it at you, and it's like, oh, you have to do this, and I'm like, well, like if I knew this was coming up and that I was gonna have to protect this person all the time, I would have just told them to wait while I do the thing, and then they can come in after. I feel like a lot of escort missions could have been solved by that narrative thing too. Mm-hmm. But instead, they're like, no, you gotta help them because of this.
We're changing the gameplay. You gotta lead them out of the building now.
It's like,
but what's my time restriction? Now.
Do it now.
Do it now. But yeah.
It's like, why do I have to be stealthy? I've been killing people this whole time. I don't get it.
Exactly. I've been doing fine. Like every single do not get detected Assassin's Creed mission. It's the fucking worst.
It's like, why? Everybody will be dead in the end anyway. Okay. So I don't get the
point. And it's like, don't kill anyone. I'm like, what? This game's called Assassin's Creed, not Hugman Creed.
I thought if you were given the option, you picked the non-violent one, Sean.
Well, that's a whole other issue because that like is a weird thing because that's implying that like the assassins give a shit about killing people who aren't essential to the mission, but the next mission you're gonna be fine killing people. So like, why this mission? Yeah. So it doesn't fight. But that's a whole thing.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, anyway.
That's a whole
thing.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
But yes, thank you for sticking around for this episode of Stay Indoors.
This is the Crazy Late Boy
podcast. It's Crazy Late Boy. Yep. But we are Geek Garden, and our sort of mission statement, if we have one, is to create a place where we can all talk about the things that we like to talk about.
So
video games, movies, comic books, whatever it is. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram,
TubeU,
and Twitter. So you can find us, follow us, and figure out what's going on. And we're on Patreon, most importantly, because we do this because we love to do it, and we'd love to be able to keep doing it and do it more. So if you like what you're seeing and want to see more, please at least consider supporting us on Patreon. That's not at all necessary, and if it is too much for you, at least a like, a subscription, and a share with other people that you know are interested in this stuff, because every little bit helps a lot.
We want to share our faces.
Yeah, we want to hang out. We want it to be a good little community of like friendly people.
A garden, even. That's the whole point.
A friendly.
Where we're all friends and everybody's opinion matters, and we won't try to silence you.
Yeah.
For what you say.
Just Brandon over here.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
See you later, Green Thumbs.
Okay.